Hello again, and welcome back. Having just built a tempo deck featuring Argeon and his best golemic friends, it's time to give that thing a test run on the ladder. Wow, apparently I have a lot of decks now. Abyssian A. So, Abyssian, especially Cassava Abyssian, like we've got here, are generally very controlling. They are trying to survive to the point where they are at Shadow Nova mana, and then cast it to full effect. They usually have a bunch of awful mid-rangey value stuff like Reaper of the Nine Moons in between, which this is sort of reasonable against, as well as lots of removal, which is good against these. So what's an Argeon to do? I think I want to mulligan the Storm Metal Golem. We can cast it pretty early in theory with this, but I think this hand isn't perfect. I would like to be able to play this and another 2-drop on the first turn, because then we have the Metallurgist on the battlefield and we've spent our mana appropriately. Otherwise we're just playing this, which is not bad, but means we don't get to play something especially explosive the following turn. So I think I'm going to replace the Storm Metal Golem and possibly the Martyrdom. Yeah, we can try and draw into that later. I'd rather firm up my early game. Okay, so we've got this to deal with 2/3s, although Abyssian don't tend to play that many 2/3s. Well, there we go. We can kill that with it. We may or may not need this Blood Tier Alchemist. It sort of fulfills a similar role to the Braces. I am looking to replace here because I want to get a 2-drop to play with my Metallurgist. If I do play a 2-drop, the Blood Tier Alchemist will be able to finish off the Healing Mystic if it attacks. So I think I'll replace the Sunstone Braces, despite them being able to kill the Healing Mystic straight up. That's not great. Okay. So let's just go for the pretty normal play of just dropping our Provoke over here. So the reason I'm putting it here is it contests 2 of the oh, there's the 2-drop. It contests 2 of the mana tiles, which is pretty good. It's in the, both our opponent's units can attack it, but they don't deal enough damage that way. So our opponent would take 3, lose their Healing Mystic, and then have to find another card like a Spectral Blade or a Blood Tier Alchemist to actually kill the thing. So that leaves us in decent shape. So we might see a 4-drop here, not on the mana tile. Maybe our opponent has 2 cards they're playing this turn. Is that a Demonic Lure? Okay. That's a bit sad because now our opponent gets to kill this without... Oh wow. That's a bit frightening. But it makes our turn quite easy. So we need to get rid of this Spectral Blade because it kind of nullifies to some extent how large our minions are by giving Cassava a high attack. Fortunately we can attack her with Argeon and play the Blood Tier Alchemist. And that leaves us with 4 mana once we've taken this tile, which means we can play the Hailstone Golem. Another option is to move forward, play Golem Metallurgist here, play Blood Tier Alchemist there, and that allows us to play the Hailstone Golem as well, and deny both the mana tiles. This does allow Cass to use her Abyssal Scar to kill this, so I think I'd rather play the Alchemist next to her instead. Yeah, that seems reasonable. And we want to play the Metallurgist somewhere slightly out the way. We can just play it over here. That's not the worst thing ever. No, we need to play it on the mana tile for this to work. So it can still be killed. So that's not an amazing play. Yeah, let's keep it simple. Actually no, denying the mana tile is valuable enough. Let's do it like this. I do enjoy this play. Like, this just puts a whole bunch of hardware on the board. So we've just broken Cass's Spectral Blade. We're effectively going to trade one of these cards for it, because she can use her Bloodborne spell and her attack if she wants to hit the Metallurgist to kill it immediately. But we've denied both the mana tiles and put a... Oh, she's got another one. Well, that's not fair. That's fine. We can get rid of that as well with the Alchemist and Argeon. Oh no, she's going to hit that. Well, we can attack it with this. This is interesting. Yeah, she's putting this in the way of Argeon, I think. The play is probably to kill the Healing Mystic, move Argeon, attack this, play a Silver Guard Knight. It would be nice to have a larger minion to play. So worst comes to worst, we can play the Knight plus the Windblade Adept. There is an argument for holding on to this Martyrdom, just because if she plays a Reaper of the Nine Moons it deals with that, but it doesn't deal with that very well, so I think I'm going to replace this and hope for something more exciting. That's reasonably exciting. So we can kill this, play a 6/6. Now that her Bloodborne spell's on cooldown, I do like the Silver Guard Knight against the Spectral Blade, because it protects our Hailstone Golem. So I think I'm going to take another 4 damage, like a madman. Drop this Knight, and play Windblade Adept somewhere. So this gets blown out if she Demonic Lures the Silver Guard Knight, or dispels it, allowing her to kill the Hailstone. That's not the worst thing ever, but I do want to play this next to Argeon. Let's go with here, as it says. Which of these is more aggressive? Let's go with here. There we go. So our opponent has 4 cards in hand to our 2, but we've got 3 minions on the board to her none. So we're pretty ahead on tempo. Suddenly that aspect of our game plan is working out pretty well. And kind of the onus is on her to find cards. Is this a Dancing Blades? That'd be sad. I guess at least it gets rid of the weapon. Ephemeral Shroud, okay, so she's dispelled it. She's going to kill the Hailstone. That's not terrible, simply because we do get to eat the Ephemeral Shroud using Argeon. So we get some... We don't lose card advantage based on that. The Sojourner is more of an issue. We can insta-kill that with the Windblade Adept, and I think that's probably the right play. Speaking of Windblade Adepts, I think this one isn't exciting enough. That is. So I would really like to play the Sojourner and buff it. If my opponent has a Zenri, playing the Sojourner by itself is really punished, whereas the Hailstone Golem doesn't care about it. The Golem also just has a bit more meat to it. We do get our spell back next turn. I think this play is essentially non-negotiable. So the one question is, I guess we want to move... we want to move so that the Windblade Adept is still next to Argeon, so that Cassava takes 6 if she attacks it. I think blocking her off like this is a reasonable way to do that. So we do this. We attack. And what do we fill that space with? This is far more difficult than it needs to be. I think I'm going to make the higher impact play. Drawing cards is good, but so is getting ahead on the board. Okay, this Ephemeral Shroud is good in case she drops a Vorpal Reaver or a Reaper of the Nine Moons or something. Just being able to remove stuff. Cat's going over there is fine. Let's hope she doesn't have another Spectral Blade. We really want to see one of our large top-end golems pretty soon. They don't die to Shadow Nova, which is fantastic. She's already used one Demonic Lure, may not be running Dark Transformation at all. They don't even die to Spectral Revenant, which is pretty wonderful. Spectral Revenant is a 7 mana 6/6 with Rush that when it damages an enemy minion also deals 4 damage to that minion's general. That's the second Demonic Lure, okay. So if we do draw a Storm Metal Golem, she's going to regret that. And this is going to be ping the 6-2 and hit it, I guess. Yeah. Now she's got some creep in front of herself. But she is on 12. So I'm pretty keen on deploying a buffed Sojourner. So what we can dispel one of these creep squares. So whatever play we make, we have to keep Shadow Nova in mind. So it's coming into Cassiver's 7 mana turn. She probably has a Nova or a Spectral Revenant by now. Revenant we can't do a whole lot about. Nova we can try and mitigate by spreading our stuff out. So one option is to move the Silver Guard Knight up here. We can roar it, we can attack, and that leaves it and Argeon far away. I want to play the Sojourner, but it does die to a Nova. One thing we can do is play the Sojourner here, play Argeon here, and dispel this tile, this Shadow Creep tile. That does mean that if she wants to kill the Sojourner and hit Argeon, she has to cover this existing tile by hitting these 4 squares, which means the Sojourner won't die. But then we lose the Ephemeral Shroud to her attacking anyway. So the one card we draw off of our now 3/1 Sojourner, we could have gotten just by replacing this. Yeah, that's more like it. Come at me, bro! Boom! So, she has to choose between playing Shadow Nova, at which point she just dies, playing Spectral Revenant, at which point she just dies, or doing something else. And she's already used 2 Demonic Lures, which means that we're in pretty decent shape. Obviously if she has another one, then she has another one, but there's only so many lures she can have, and if we're making good delaying plays like this, like suppose we draw another large golem next turn, what's she going to do then, huh? And in the meantime, we get to attack in for damage with the Silver Guard Knight, and generally be annoying. So she's probably going to try and block off its path here, I would guess. What is that? Her cursor is flicking around all over the place. This is a surprisingly good matchup. Yes, Kalena, okay. So she's going to try and gain some life. Is this, okay. That's reasonable. Right, so if we kill the Mystic, move this in, we are a few damage off lethal. Let's replace this Windblade. Azurite Lion. Azurite Lion's okay. So things get a bit awkward here, because if we kill Shadow Sister, we open ourselves up to this actually dying to Shadow Nova. If we attack the face, I guess it still dies because Kaleno can hit it. But at least we get a ton of damage in, and can try and surround Cass with stuff. So I think... maybe it just is better to kill the life gain minion. Like, I think we do this. She's now on 12. If I hit her here, she goes to 5. If she plays Nova, she can run Kaleno in, ping this. She's on 6. We can't really get at her. So I think I am actually going to kill this. Go around here. Play a Sojourner there. And possibly this Lion here. I just want to play a bunch of stuff as spread out as I can, just to get on the board and make the Shadow Novas really bad. Generally against Cass, your plan is to move into her 7 mana turn in such a position that if she plays Shadow Nova, it's going to be terrible. Like if she plays Zenri and steals the Sojourner, that's still not great, unless she has a 3rd Demonic Lure to get rid of the 8/6. Alright, so she got it over. So this is going to die. So, and this is going to die as well for the ping. So that's very sad, obviously. I am now officially supposed to be upset. What can we do next turn? So I don't think I'm keeping this Tempest, but there's a small chance. So if I roar this, it can get in, and it even stays on the board as a 4-1. It dies to the Shadow Creep tile in the end of her turn, but it blocks space. Obviously we're going to attack with the Sojourner, and roaring it means standing on this, which I'm not exactly willing to do. So let's get in there, see what we draw. Divine Bond. That makes this 7 damage. I don't think we can win this turn, but we can put something next to cast that will be a pain. So I think let's just go ahead and do that. I don't know if I bother Divine Bonding for the 3 damage now. Probably is worthwhile. Yeah, so we'll do this. And I'm going to play the Suntide Maiden here. And move up. So I want to spread things out a little bit so that my Maiden and the Sojourner don't die to the same Shadow Nova. So if my opponent wants to kill them both, she has to play a Shadow Nova for 2 extra squares and then hit the Sojourner and ping it. That still puts us in a very bad spot, because we have to cross all this morass of Nova squares to get to her. So I hope she doesn't have it, but I think it's obviously better than the alternative, which is bunching them all up here and letting them all die to a single Nova, meaning she can avoid drawing us a card with the Sojourner. So you do have Zenri. That's very sad. Ooh, that's bad as well. Well, I don't think we want this martyrdom, if we can help it. That's good, though. Is she running another Zenri, is the question. So, I think we can use the Hailstone Golem to kill this. Use the Suntide Maiden to kill this and play a Sojourner where it was. So we have to roar the Hailstone Golem instead of the Suntide Maiden. I guess that's kind of a necessary evil because of how impactful Kaleno is. If this card lives at all, it's very difficult to beat. So trading our Golem for it is essentially fine. I think I'm going to put this just in Cassiva's face. I don't really have anywhere else good to put it where it might actually do anything. And we're sort of pretty unlikely to win at this point, I feel, so I just want to play it where it's most likely to have a good effect. She doesn't have that many cards in hand, but she's got a lot of creep in a very relevant position. We can play something here next turn, where this Mana Tile was, but it probably isn't going to be a Golem Metallurgist. What's this? Spectral Revenant? No. It's like, how dead am I? Another Sojourner. Boo. I guess we can insta-kill that with the Suntide Maiden. Interesting play. Oh, that makes me sad. Reaper of the Nine Moons. Oh, how do we get out of this mess? Well, not with this Golden Metallurgist, that's for sure. Probably not with him either. Okay, so I want to get rid of this Reaper of the Nine Moons, but I can't. Not without a silence effect. I guess the play is to attack this first. Tempest. It's not awful. It does mean that the Reaper will die when it attacks me next turn, or this if I play it, which I probably will. Of course, it can steal a 10-10 from my deck, since I have decided not to draw any of them, so that's not great. But I think this does give my Suntide Maiden the best chance of surviving. So I'll go ahead and do it. Okay, so my opponent still has a bunch of stuff in hand. She can kill the Maiden with Hero Power plus Reaper. God, Reaper of the Nine Moons just makes me sad. What's it gonna steal today? Okay, that could have been a lot worse. Ouch. Is that lethal? Yeah, okay. She's just showing off. Okay, that didn't go quite so well as the last time I played against the Cassava with this deck. Well, once more into the breach. If I manage to lose 2 games in a row, I'll show you one of the replays from when it won. So you can see what the deck's kind of, air quotes, supposed to do. Obviously the downside with making live videos like this is, you know, I have no idea what the matchups are actually going to go like, especially at this rank. Magmar, probably badly, because they have 2 things that make golems very sad. Eggmorph and Earth Sister Taigete. We do at least get to not mind too much about Macantor Warbeast, because it doesn't kill our large minions, but we have to be scared of everything else they've got, and they've got a lot. This is quite a good hand against Magmar though. I like this Brightmoss Golem, it's just a little expensive. We're definitely replacing the Storm Metal. I feel like Sojourner's a bit low impact for what I want against Magmar early on, especially as they have natural selection and she just dies to that immediately. So I may... Yeah, I've still got a 3-drop for turn 2, worst comes to worst, so I'll replace her. Alright, we have a 2-drop, all is not lost. It's probably going to eat a natural selection, but I'd much rather that than my 3-drop eat one. I might keep this Divine Bond, just because if I manage to stick a Brightmoss Golem, I can just go for that plan instead of trying to outmaneuver them, because Magmar are pretty brutal. So let's just... Yeah, let's drop a line and just keep all of this. Double Divine Bond. Okay, well we have a plan that will make our opponent sad at us. It does involve this sticking on full health though, so it's pretty unlikely. We'll... Oh dear. That's scary. I have not seen that line before. That was interesting. Well, let's... Suntide Maiden. That could be good. So we probably want to play something on this Mana Spring, just to deny it to the opponent. I'm not sure which of the Golem or the Maiden is the better choice. If our opponent has a pump spell for this Spirit Harvester, it will probably be Greater Fortitude or Amplitude, which increases its toughness by more than 1. This will die anyway though, so its ability doesn't do very much, so I'm just going to play the Golem. It means that if the opponent does have pump for this, it'll be easier to kill with something else, like this Tempest. Oh, I forgot to run my Azeroth Lion away. That was silly. Well, it's going to die now. That makes me sad. Oh, not. Opponent's going north. What are they doing? I've never seen this strategy before. Oh, another thing about Suntide Maiden is it's worse against... Alright. We got their Egg-Morph. Right. So we're playing this. And I guess... What else do we need? So he's on 23. If we play this and it sticks, we go Bond, Bond, Tempest, win. So I guess I should replace the Maiden. Sweet. That's a good backup plan. Do I want to move closer to or further from my opponent? I think I want to be further away. I want the Brightmoss Golem to be on the center square where I was just now, and I'm going to put the Azeroth Lion on the tile, I think. Yes. The downside with this is that there's actually no reason for my opponent to bother killing the Azeroth Lion with Varth, because he's got the Spirit Harvester. Oh, that's a thought. The Brightmoss Golem will take damage in the end of our opponent's turn, so it won't be able to... yeah, there we go. I won't be able to make the double Divine Bond play. But we'll see. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have another Egg-Morph for the blowout, or some silly Flash Reincarnation ugliness. That's unusual. Uh-huh. You're attacking that guy. No? Yeah. And we don't have another one because the Azeroth Lion's going to die. Damn. Well, let's mulligan this Tempest. We've got some stuff to do next turn. That's great. I guess I go this way and just play a Roared Windblade. This will hopefully deal 6 damage to something. This Flash Spirit Harvester play has been pretty good. I am... Oh god. Okay. So we can hit this and cast Tempest. In doing that we go to 6. Then we probably just die. Other options. We attack this, play the Golem there. Our opponent plays their third Egg-Morph and we die. Like, search your feelings, you know it to be true. I think that's the play though. I'm going to replace the Tempest again. Metallurgist. Doesn't do much. How do we win this? I think we win this by the opponent not having a removal spell for once. Like, I'm not sure this plan can beat Spirit Harvester into triple Egg-Morph, so this deck even can beat Spirit Harvester into triple Egg-Morph. But on the plus side, if we do get to stick this, we probably win with it next turn. So if our opponent... Oh, they probably won't attack it. If they play another Mercantor, this becomes an 8-4, that makes it 16 power. So that won't quite kill it, but we can attack it ourselves. You do have another Mercantor. Okay. I think we have lethal. Unless they have like a flash reincarnation and another minion? Ow. Opponent runs away. Ooh, I think that keeps us off lethal slightly. No, it's still on toughness 7. You, opponent, are judiciously, deliciously, nutritiously, super uber mega dead. Begone! We beat that. We did it. I'm gonna tip my opponent for that. We got there. I am kind of surprised we won that game, but you know, that's the power of a giant pile of stats. Sometimes they can't deal with it. Ah, awesome. Right, I am very happy with that. I'm gonna show you the one of the quick replays anyway, just because it was so immensely satisfying. If I can find the replay page, that'd be great. Is it match history? Yeah. I think it was this one. So, is this against Cassiver? Yeah. This is what happens when they don't draw a bunch of demonic lures. So, as you can see, this is a pretty solid hand. We have turn 1 Metallurgist, turn 2 Bright Moss Golem, and supporting cast. I mulligan the Ephemeral Shroud just because you don't normally need them immediately against Abyssian. The double Sojourner is awkward, but we can replace those if we need to. So this is now looking great. If our opponent doesn't have Demonic Lure, we're going to play this next turn. They don't have anything, so you know, hold your horses, folks. We saw it. The control deck didn't draw removal the moment they needed it, unlike Mr. Magmar back there. So yeah, we get to slam a 4/9. It's like, well, will they top deck Demonic Lure? Because of course we kind of established they don't have it. Otherwise they'd have just used it on the Metallurgist. So I have the option here of playing Martyrdom on the Dealtas, or hitting it and Martyrdoming the token. And I realized that why would I do either of those things when I can just play this 8/8? So, you know, smash. In retrospect, this play is hideously risky if the opponent has Sunset Paragon, which is a 3/2 that causes each minion around it to deal damage to itself equal to its power, which is one of the few things these golems are really vulnerable to. But they don't. They have a Reaper, which is pretty good against us. You know, it'll trade with the Bright Moss Golem. So we kind of want to get rid of that, because we don't want them to trade with this and then steal a 10/10. So I decide to dispel it and martyrdom it, because our opponent's still on 25. We're killing the Dealtas for free. I don't really mind spending 2 cards to kill a Reaper of the Nine Moons. After some fighting with my mouse. I think the game was being a bit laggy. We got there. I move this guy to safety and move myself further in. So this is where, you know, we're starting to threaten a lot of damage. We've got a Divine Bond. So if our opponent doesn't do a whole lot, we just get to win. And so at this point, I'm just going to pause this. So our opponent's now stopped making their plays, and we have lethal. I solved this in my head and then executed it wrongly. So I didn't actually kill them on turn 5. I just put them to 3 and then they conceded. But what the lethal is you Divine Bond the Storm Metal Golem, you move the Metallurgist down, attack Cassiver, move Argeon down, attack the Healing Mystic. So Cassiver's on 23, the Mystic is on 1 toughness. You play the Tempest, the Mystic dies. This dies as well, but it doesn't matter. Cass takes another 2, she's on 21. Argeon is now standing next to this. You roar it, you move these 2 diagonally in and sideways, and you attack, and that's 24 damage. Sorry, 22 damage, and she would be on 21 at that point. What I actually did was cast the Tempest last, so I had to attack the Healing Mystic with the Metallurgist to kill it, which missed 2 damage essentially. So I didn't end up casting the Tempest because I realized I'd messed it up. I was like, wait, why is she on 3 instead of 1? Oh, whoops. So I should have attacked Cassiva there instead of the Mystic. Cast Divine Bond now and then moved. It's quite a difficult lethal to execute for a deck that is largely full of, you know, giant vanilla creatures, but sometimes it works. So, having realized my error, I played the Silver God Knight over here, where it would be able to attack in next turn. You know, if my opponent killed all of this stuff somehow, I move down, roll this, and win. But she conceded, so. GG's. Yeah, so that is the power inherent in giant golems that ignore all but a small portion of your opponent's cards. Sometimes you just do that. That's fantastic. And it was actually rather gratifying in the second game, the one against Magmar, to see that the second Mercantil Warbeast just kind of didn't really do a lot. You know, our opponent just used it as a 4 damage burn spell, but then had to pass, and that was it. So, that wraps this up. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. So again, just to give a quick recap, we built a tempo deck, so our plan is to get ahead on board, play large minions that our opponent is going to struggle to remove with the vast majority of their cards, so we stay ahead on board, and we get to dictate how the combat flows. Then we just throw giant dorks in their face, and sometimes we win. I should point out, the first game I played, I didn't win with Divine Bond. I won by playing Dragonbone Golem into Dragonbone Golem into Storm Metal Golem into Storm Metal Golem, and just grinding through my opponent's endless stream of provokes. They had so many provokes that they were playing the Provoke War Master that gives your provokes extra movement. They were just provokes for days. So I couldn't actually win for ages, but I just kept drawing these massive minions. My opponent just couldn't stop them. And eventually I cornered them and got an attack in, and that was that. So yeah, it's a very entertaining and surprisingly effective deck. I'm really happy that it's worked out. I was a bit worried because I've had mixed results with some of the other decks I've been testing. They need a bit more refinement and or the right moment to shine. But that one is just, wow, you play massive dudes and you win. I feel like I've learned something here as well, which is my goal when I make these videos. You know, I want to learn from myself and my experiences in building them as much as I want to teach, because that's half the fun. But I digress. So I'm hoping to do these about weekly, possibly more if I have time. It mostly depends on the vagaries of deck building. I've got quite a few ideas, so I hope to be able to make this into a decent length series, and you know, if people ask for more different kinds of content, I'm more than happy to see what I can do. I really like making this stuff, so it doesn't take me that long either, which is even better. So I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I like putting it together. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned, and I'll see you next time.